extra hot air is a good thing in here right now. Keep talking, keep talking. How great to see everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yep, okay, sounds good. And thank you for coming today to Promega and to the Fitchburg Business Luncheon. I hope you all got a little bite to eat. What well-timed comfort food on this cold day, don't you think? Yeah, I know. That first bite of meatloaf, really, it's like, oh, yeah, this is good stuff. It takes so many hands to pull this together. Just a quick thank you to some of them, the Fitchburg Chamber, the City of Fitchburg, the team there with Joyce and Mike, and Promega Culinary and the events team with Steve Leverance and that. So a lot of folks pulling this together. We're also honored to have some lovely guests with us today. So the mayor, of course, Mayor Julia Aradafrada, as well as the UW Chancellor Mnuchin, who will be joining us. So exciting to have both of them here. And I got to say, with the UW, what a gem to have in the backyard of Fitchburg. Don't you think? Yeah, yeah. And for Promega, anyway, the UW has been an entity that has been a part of Promega since its very inception in 1978 and continues to be just a wonderful collaborator and a part of Promega's success throughout the years to becoming a global company. Now, I know what you're all thinking. What is it exactly that Promega does? We have a hard time answering that question ourselves some days. But I know some of you probably remember Pancho, our VP of R&D from last year, but you're going to get the non-scientist version this year as a refresher of what does Promega do? So just very quickly, essentially we make chemistries that are tools. And those tools are used, and technologies, are used by scientists who do a whole host of things around human life at this cellular molecular level. They're researching disease at the UW and institutions around the world. They're discovering new drugs around the world. They're swabbing the DNA from a crime scene and figuring out who done it. They're also creating new tests in clinical labs to figure out if you have COVID. Or they're in public health departments testing the wastewater to see if there's going to be a COVID bloom. So we're very fortunate to support scientists around the world who do a whole host of activity. And if that gets you kind of curious about molecular biology, there is a non-scientist course for y'all here at the BTC with our BTC Institute in February. So just if you want to, cozy up to a bench and do some pipetting, this is your place. You're like, what, Penny? I'd rather go for a drink. But I understand, me too. A couple other things before we get going, very important thank yous. First of all, a thank you to all of you for coming. Cold day. But there's something very special about getting community together. There's a special energy that happens when you get a chance to see people and connect, and that just doesn't happen in a Zoom meeting. So thank you for coming. And, by the way, shameless self-promotion, if you want to continue that sense of connection and community, there is the Get Festive event tomorrow just across the street at Agora. I think it starts at 5, Steve, is that right? Lighting, mulled cider, all sorts of good things. So thank you for coming. Doesn't happen without you. And also a very special thanks to our host for today. So that's the Fitchburg Community Economic Development Authority, fondly known as CEDA. And here to say a few more words, the chairperson of CEDA. Please welcome Mark Hamilton.
Well, thank you, Penny, and I hope everybody did enjoy their lunch today, and I hope they enjoyed the presentation this afternoon. I'm chair of the CEDA committee, as Penny said, and I've been a Fitchburg resident for 32 years. I'm retired from UW Health. When I moved to town 32 years ago, these fields across the way, my kids used to practice soccer out there. So we've seen a lot of positive growth and change over the years. In addition to serving on CEDA, I'm also on the, just going off the Fitchburg Visitor and Chamber Board, and at the same point in time on the Fitchburg Bike and Ped Commission. So I've seen a lot of positive growth and change in Fitchburg over the years. The host of CEDA, what we are is we're a 7-member committee, and you can see the members there: Alder J. Allen, Mario Garcia Sierra, myself, Dan Hardy, Alder Maldonado, Andy Potts, who's our vice chair, and Jenny Sanders. And if you folks are here, could you stand up? I don't see you got the lights down, but if you want to stand up and let the folks recognize you. Okay. Thank you. And we're responsible for community housing and economic development, and also putting the strategic plans forward that Julia and her offices are busy putting together. So with that, we're going to move into our program. And I want to thank first our sponsors and our partners: Promega, Fitchburg Chamber and Business Bureau, the University of Wisconsin, of course, who's here, the Fitchburg Fact TV, who's put all this together for us, and thank you for that, and the City of Fitchburg. So from that perspective, I want to also thank a few others. I want to give a shout out to our city's Economic Development Department: Mike Zimmerman, Joyce Fry, and Lorene Gage, who are somewhere around here. And at the same point in time, the amazing production team that Penny had already thanked, the Fact TV and these folks that are here. We've also got some other elected officials that I want to call out and recognize them before we get moving. Justin Williams from the office of Senator Tammy Baldwin, Jay Allen, who's a Fitchburg Alder, Bill Jetzer, who's a Fitchburg Alder, Donald Dantzler, who's a Fitchburg Alder, Melissa Ratliff from the state of Wisconsin, Julia Radafrada, of course, our mayor, you're going to hear speak in a few minutes, and Gabriella Gerhardt, who's also a Fitchburg Alder. So a round of applause for all those folks. And we will get moving forward. Last year, if you remember, it came to the meeting, we did not have a meeting in 2022, so we had a 2-year video that was given. And there's been a significant amount of change that's gone on over the last year in Fitchburg. And we've got a video to share with you that's going to cover the groundbreakings, the ribbon cuttings, the things that have been going on in our city over the past year. So we are very pleased with this. In addition, we've got several businesses who've achieved milestone anniversaries, and you'll see those at the end of the video. So with that, I will turn the video on for you. So a big thank you to our colleagues at Fact TV for putting together that great video. You can see there's a lot going on out here in Fitchburg, and we're pretty proud of that. In addition, I forgot, this is one of these things you got to be flexible. Senator Kelda Royce has joined us here too. She is here to join us today, and I didn't get her. She wasn't on my list, but welcome. I want to invite you here too. The next item on our agenda is our mayor, and Julia Radafrada. I'm proud to say that I've known her for about 15 years now. She happens to even live in my neighborhood, but she was elected mayor in April 2023. She served on the Common Council for 8 years and also was council president in 2020. She has over 20 years experience in business and accounting and works for Wegner CPAs as a manager, senior manager in accounting. She served on several boards in Dane County and is involved with the Latin community extensively in our city. She's dedicated to improving housing accessibility for our citizens here in Fitchburg. And at the same point in time, the city has launched the Efficiency Navigator program under her leadership. Her primary objective, which I think you will be pleased to hear, is that she wants to make Fitchburg the employer of choice. So we are working on that very diligently. And lastly, she was born in Cordoba, Argentina. Been a resident of Fitchburg since 2004, and is married and has 2 children. So Julia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
So thank you, Mark, for your words, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. Buenos días, buenas tardes. It's a true honor to stand before you as mayor, and I am excited to share the incredible work that we are doing here at the city of Fitchburg. I am deeply committed to ensuring that Fitchburg remains a place where families thrive, businesses grow, and all residents have access to the resources and opportunity that they need to succeed. On a personal note, I am very thrilled to have Chancellor Munikin as our keynote speaker today. The University of Wisconsin is not just an academic institution, it's a powerhouse driving economic growth in our region. Fitchburg is fortunate to see the ripple effect firsthand, with several companies embracing the Wisconsin idea here in Fitchburg, including Promega, who is hosting today this event, and which owes its origins to individuals connected to the university. 20 years ago, my family came to Wisconsin because of the University of Wisconsin. My husband is a professor in the engineer department, and one of my sons graduated with an engineer degree from UW 3 years ago. Personally, I have also found some of my closest friends through the UW community. As I often say, the Fratters are part of the UW family, and we are incredibly proud to be connected to such remarkable institution that has enriched our lives in so many ways. So now I want to ask you to raise your hands, and how many of you are, your businesses or you individually are connected to the University of Wisconsin? Raise your hand. Or the Wisconsin idea. Wow. Okay. So look at that. That one is incredible. So it highlights how deeply connected the university is with our community and success. As a businesses and local government leaders, our shared responsibility is to support and invest in higher public education. Because when we invest in education, we are not just building knowledge, we are driving economic growth, fostering creativity and innovation that benefit all of us. Today, I want to share some of our most important priorities that the city is focusing. These priorities are centered on the needs of our community, building up our neighborhoods, providing more housing, supporting education, creating jobs, and ensure the city's financial stability. One of the most exciting projects underway is the development of the hub. We don't have a name yet, so we are, you have a name, please share with us. We call it the hub for now. It's located in the North Fitchhatchee Road. We broke ground on this 4,000 square foot building in July 24, which will soon become our community's central gathering point. This facility will feature a large community room, outdoor bike path, a playground, a basketball court, everything needed to foster a sense of connection and belonging. The hub will serve one of our city's healthy neighborhoods, providing a much-needed recreation amenity for residents in that area. With the construction scheduled to be completed in 2025, this space will be a vibrant location for all ages, offering a place to connect, learn, and grow. This is just one of the examples of our commitment to investing in infrastructure that enhances the quality of life in Fitchburg. Another key initiative in the works is the development of 2 neighborhood plans. So you can see here in the picture, the blue one is the South Stoner Prairie, and the red one is the Greenfield. The Greenfield Neighborhood Plan and the South Stoner Prairie Neighborhood Plan, this project will help guide the future growth in important parts of our city. The Greenfield neighborhood is located along Irish Lane and Highway 14, and will provide opportunity for new development supporting residential and commercial growth. The South Stoner Prairie Neighborhood Plan is located along Lacey Road and Ficherona Road. Similarly, it will focus on guiding the future of a key area in the western part of the city. Both neighborhood plans will ensure that as Fitchburg grows, it does so in a way that meets the needs of our residents. They will help us plan for the much-needed housing and infrastructure to keep our neighborhoods vibrant, sustainable, and welcoming for many years. The city approved Tax Incremental District 18, which is located in the western section of Fitchburg, and this district is set to become an area of industrial and commercial development, bringing new jobs and economic opportunities in our community. TID 18 will be a key driver in creating well-paid jobs for Fitchburg residents, contributing to the city growth and help to diversify the city's economy. This development provides land to attract new businesses, enhance the industrial base, and provide the services and infrastructure that will benefit the entire city. Education is one of the cornerstones of any thriving community. And in Fitchburg, we are excited about the future of education. In 2024, the Verona Area School District acquired land for future schools in the city, specifically for a high school across from Savannah Oaks Middle School and an elementary middle school in the site of King James Way on the western part of the city. While there is no timeline set for the construction of these 2 schools, this land acquisition is a vital step in addressing the growing needs for educational facilities. As the city population continues to grow, so does the need for schools that can provide the students with the tools they need to succeed. I am very excited to continue collaborating with the Verona Area School District to ensure that the city has the educational infrastructure that it needs to absorb the growth. Also, this is a very good news for the city. In 2024, the Fitchburg received a significant upgrade for Moody's, earning an AAA bond rating. Yes, this is great. This is an important milestone from the city, and it reflects the strength of the city's diverse local economy and sound financial policies. So we are one on 6 communities in Wisconsin that we achieved this, so we should be very proud. A high bond rating enables the city to borrow money at lower interest rates, saving the city taxpayer in the long term. It also means that the city is in a strong position to continue to invest in the capital project so we can still move the city forward. Creating more housing options in Fitchburg remains a top priority for me and my administration. Fitchburg is working on several initiatives to address the housing needs of the city's growing population. One key initiative is the partnership with Sustain Dane and Elevate Energy to help Fitchburg's small and medium-sized apartment buildings become more energy efficient. by making sustainable energy updates is not only reducing the city's environmental footprint, but also ensuring that these properties are more affordable for residents. Additionally, the city is focused on increasing the availability of workforce housing. This is our priority because affordable housing is crucial to attracting and retaining workers in our community and region. Fitchburg will continue working with public and private partners to explore new opportunities to add additional workforce housing units here. Fitchburg has an affordable housing fund that will be available for partnership starting in 2025 and is committed to reducing barriers for housing for all residents. So this is the last slide. So looking ahead into 2025, there are several critical projects to position Fitchburg for continued growth. One of these projects is the Comprehensive Plan Update or revision. This plan guides the city's growth and development over the long term, and it must remain aligned with our current needs and future priorities. In addition to the comprehensive plan, there will be an update of the zoning code and the signs ordinances. As a part of this update, the city will look for ways to reduce housing barriers and ensure that Fitchburg development continue to meet our residents' needs. So in conclusion, as I have shared with you today, I am deeply proud of our progress here in the city of Fitchburg. This is a city moving forward in motion with a purpose and vision, and where we are shaping new neighborhoods, expanding recreation spaces, prioritizing education, jobs, and affordable housing. These are not just policies, but reflect the commitment to building a community that serves all the residents here. For me, this work is personal. I see the resilience and energy of our residents every day, and inspire me to push harder for a future where Fitchburg continues to thrive. Together, we are creating a strong, welcoming, inclusive, and forward-thinking community, one that I am honored to lead. I am excited by all we have accomplished, not only my administration, my council, but the staff of the city of Fitchburg, and some of you are here today. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for your hard work. I can see it every day, so I want to say thank you. So finally, I just want to thank you for your trust, engagement, and dedication to making Fitchburg a vibrant place to live, work, and raise a family. Together, juntos, we will continue to build a brighter future for Fitchburg. Thank you, muchísimas gracias de mi corazón, and please enjoy the rest of the event. And also want to thank Promega for hosting today and the incredible economic development team at the City of Fitchburg and the Fitchburg Chamber of Commerce for putting together this event. Gracias.
Well, thank you, Mayor Julio. We certainly appreciate your leadership and vision, and hope folks got an idea of what's going on. If not, you can reach out to Julio or her staff as we go down the road. So, the next part of our program, it's my pleasure to introduce Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin, and as we get ready to bring her up to our stage, she's the 30th leader in the university's 176-year history. And she's one of the top legal scholars in the United States. She has worked at the University of Virginia, the UCLA, now at UW-Madison. She's also has law degrees from Harvard, Yale, and MIT. So she's quite a distinguished scholar from that perspective as well. She's dedicated to pushing boundaries to bring the university to new levels of excellence. And in this day and age, that's a lot of challenge, and there's certainly a lot going on down on campus. And she recently launched an excellent ambition across campuses called Wisconsin Rise, which I think we'll probably hear about today, about research, education, and innovation and scholarly excellence to expand opportunities for folks across our state. She's also championed initiatives to increase access to UW-Madison, and there are a significant number of students that are at UW-Madison that are supported by their full need programs that we have. During her tenure, also the university's been recognized as a National Center for Innovation and Economic Prosperity across our state, and is one of the top institutions in the country. So please join me in welcoming Chancellor Jennifer Mnookin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that very kind introduction and for all you've done to build this incredible community. And Mayor, I very much appreciated hearing your words and seeing some of the results of your tremendous leadership. And I'm just really delighted to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. Here, let's do that together. Good afternoon, everyone. Good. That makes me feel a little bit like a professor again, so I appreciate that. I'm really happy to be here to be celebrating the quite amazing city of Fitchburg. I want to congratulate you on more than 40 years of growth and excellence and on the well-deserved AAA bond rating. As some of you may know, we at University of Wisconsin-Madison would really love to be able to have a little bit more of our own bonding authority. So I'm especially envious of that AAA rating of yours. And you've got not just great economic development and so many opportunities, but really some of the best bike paths around as well. I really want to thank Mark and Mike and Joyce for bringing us all together today, and also Promega and Penny Patterson for hosting this wonderful gathering, and for a 35-year partnership with UW-Madison. Our work together has genuinely advanced research to improve human health, created even international internships for our students, and we even sometimes team teach classes for our Master of Science in Biotechnology program right here at Promega. In fact, a number of our most active university partners have offices here in Fitchburg, and here's just a few. The Sub-Zero Group, Shine Technologies, Thermo Fisher Scientific, and Park Bank. Anyone here from any of those organizations? Give a wave. Yes? No? Okay, I see a few over here. Awesome. To have so many top companies in a city of 35,000 people is really pretty incredible. One might even call it a good idea, or a Wisconsin idea, to connect Fitchburg's slogan to our own. I know we have lots of different connections to UW-Madison in this group, and so I thought maybe if the tech works for us, I thought maybe we could use a technology that we sometimes use in our classrooms to learn a little bit more about who's in the room. Mayor Julia asked some of you to raise your hand if you had a connection to us, but we'll maybe put your UW knowledge to the test a little bit. So I'm giving you permission to pull out your phone and scan the QR code and click on the link that pops up, or go to the website and enter the code, and then you'll answer a couple of questions. You don't need to put in your name. It may ask you for your name. You can skip that part. We'll just show aggregate responses. Tell us if you're connected directly to UW-Madison, how? You're right, they should. We're missing that. You're right, that's a missing category. And you can see that we're getting answers in real time. And so this gives you a sense of just who's in the room with us and what your connections are. I was going to ask if anybody fit all of the categories, but since we have exactly one current student, they're probably not a parent or grandparent of a student, and they probably can't be an alum. So, but how many of you, give a wave if you fit into two categories? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So lots of you fit into at least two of those. And I know that we've got some of our staff, we have that missing category, but I know that we've got some staff in the room who also live in Fitchburg. If you're staff and live in Fitchburg, give a wave. There's Crystal, Crystal right there. That's awesome. So anyway, I just thought that we're going to do a few more questions on this, but But I also want to make sure you're all aware of both Brenda Gonzalez, who's here with us, wave. She's our Director of Community Relations. And so for those of you who've got community connections to us, she's your woman. And she often manages somehow to be in many places at once. So probably many of you have seen her somewhere. And then our Managing Director of our Office of Business Engagement, John Garnetti, is here as well. And so I want to introduce him. Sitting right between them, I want to introduce Craig Thompson, who's our new Vice Chancellor of, raise your hand, Craig, of University Relations, and we're thrilled to have him with us as well. All right, we're going to go on to the next question. We're still going to use that QR code here. How many students do you think applied for admission to UW-Madison last fall? 45,000, 48,000, 70,000, 100,000. You guys are getting to see answers in real time. I don't know if it lets you change your answer, but you guys don't do that. Like, go with your first guess. All right. All right, well, the majority has it on this one. We had about 70,000 applicants last year for both freshmen and transfer students. It was more than double what we received about 10 years ago. So UW-Madison is a hot school across the nation and the globe. Our Wisconsin resident applications have been stable. They've been tracking up just a little bit. That's actually not bad, considering that we're seeing some demographic reduction here in Wisconsin in the college-age-going population. And also we're seeing some decrease in the rate of college going across the nation, but also here in Wisconsin. So we're seeing pretty stable numbers in Wisconsin, but we're seeing significantly more applications in all. We're also both seeing more applicants, and we're able to support more applicants who are receiving Pell Grants with their families. That's a federally funded form of financial aid for families who are lower on the socioeconomic spectrum. And here in Wisconsin, for our Wisconsin residents, through something called Bucky's Pell Pathway, which I was privileged to announce in my very first year as chancellor, we provide full support for students from Wisconsin whose families are receiving Pell Grants. And that means not just full tuition, but we also help meet, sitting on top of any other scholarships that they might get, we meet their full costs of attendance, including room and board and books and spending money, even the opportunity to go maybe on a broad program at some point while they're with us to try to make college affordable. And so that takes me to the next question I want to ask you, which is what percentage of our undergraduates do you think graduate without any student debt? What would you type in the percentage that you imagine might graduate with no student debt coming out of Madison? Take your guess. So we're seeing a nice little, it's kind of fun to see the tech, right? I thought that was kind of fun to show too. You can see your various answers. All right, so it looks like lots of you think that a majority of our students graduate with debt, given that the 50% mark is around there. The real answer is about 65% of our students graduate with zero debt. Yeah. And I really wanted to share this with you because I think there's a notion in some of the headwinds that higher ed is facing that, students go and are burdened by so much debt and it's impossible and that they're not even finishing, they're not graduating. That is not true for us. Our 4-year and our 6-year graduation numbers have both hit record highs, and about 2/3 of our students are graduating with zero debt. And that remaining third that is graduating with some debt, for the most part, has relatively manageable debt levels. I know that might be, easy for me to say from my position, but, we are in a country where lots of people think nothing about taking out debt to buy a Honda Civic, right? And if you have much less debt than that for your college degree, I'm not sure. I mean, that isn't ideal. We'd love everybody to be able to graduate with no debt at all. But 2/3, zero debt. The remaining third, pretty modest debt, typically less than what you'd expect expect for, say, a first automobile. And so I want to share that so that all of you have an understanding that that is the reality at UW-Madison. How do we do that? Well, partly because we've been able to give a lot of scholarship funds, and that is, thanks in part to philanthropy. It's also thanks in part to the fact that we are a popular school for the entire country, and we're able partly to use our out-of-state population to help give support to our in-state population, right, as a public institution. And so I just think it's valuable for you all to understand that that's going on. So we also have a lot of good sports teams, sometimes a little bit disappointing in their performance. Other times they exceed expectations. No question, both of those happen. But which of these teams do you think has won the most national championships in their history? All right, well, once again, you're showing that, there's a majority knows here. Women's hockey is the right answer. In fact, our women's hockey team is the winningest women's hockey team in the United States. Though we're proud of all of these, for sure. Okay, this will be the last thing we use this technology for, but what's one word that comes to mind when you think of UW-Madison? What do you think of? Throw your words out and be honest, good, bad, we want it all, so. I like how it kind of reorganizes itself, right? Okay, so here we go. So, so I appreciate this, right? So, okay, we got Bucky Badgers at the top, right? And no question, Bucky is our mascot. Bucky is part of how we engage with the broader community. Bucky is lots of fun. Hopefully those of you with small children maybe also like Bucky. Every Halloween, Bucky hangs out in front of my house at Olin House. Please feel free to come by for a chance for your kid to see Bucky. And of course, the Badgers are part of our engagement with the entire state. But I'm pretty happy to see both excellence and innovation up there. The way this works is the more of you who said it, the bigger the word is on the screen, right? So excellence and innovation are there almost, an opportunity, are almost there as big as Bucky and Badgers. And certainly that is what we're aiming for. I think the Wisconsin idea, which is also up there somewhere, is part of who we want to be. It's this notion that we want to be doing good things, not just for those who are students with us, but all across the state and even beyond. We want to be making a positive difference. And I think about the Wisconsin idea sometimes as innovation for the public good. I also see up there drunk, and I'm going to acknowledge that we have a bit of a work hard, play hard culture. Though I also want to make clear that though that's true, and I acknowledge that, there's a great many students. You can have a wonderful experience on our campus if you don't partake in alcohol or drinking, and doesn't have to be part of your experience. Though if you're on Regent Street on a game day, well, you all know what I mean there. I also just want to note, I love the pride. I'm glad that many of you feel pride in this institution. That's really important to us. And I like respected and outstanding. And yes, Big Ten. I see a bring back baseball to UW. I get that every single day on Twitter. But if you know about what's going on in college athletics right now and some of the pressures and stressors, I'm going to be candid with you and tell you that is not likely in the near future, though I understand it's disappointing. We've got winnowing, which is part of sifting and winnowing. I saw up there a liberal, and yes, I know our campus does sometimes have a more progressive tilt, but it's really important that we are also a place for diversity of viewpoints and where people can thrive and flourish, whatever their beliefs. And I do believe that diversity is a core need for our institution, and that diversity has to be about identity identity, it has to be about backgrounds, and it has to be about beliefs also, that you can come to our campus with a huge range of perspectives and have meaningful chances to engage with people who think like you and people who don't think like you. And that's something that we're also talking a lot about, and we're working to build up as a core part of our institution. Autonomy, I would say that's something we don't actually have too much of. We we are proud to be part of the UW system. We're proud to be a public institution, but we do have fewer flexibilities and freedoms than most other public institutions. We don't have the opportunity, for example, to borrow money for a dorm or a dining facility unless it goes all the way through the legislative process, even if we can just pay it back from our own program revenues. And we have fewer flexibilities for things like procurement and lots of other dynamics where we don't have as much efficiency as other institutions might because of the way the state often treats us and thinks of us like we're a state agency. So we're super proud to be public, but we don't necessarily have a great deal of autonomy. We're proud of Babcock ice cream. Camp Randall is certainly a really extraordinary place to see a game, but I love seeing things like energized and respected and inspiring and life-changing and authentic, right? We're authentic, we want to be really excellent, but we don't want to measure ourselves by how many people we say no to. We want to let ourselves be a little bit goofy some of the time. That's all part of what it means to be UW-Madison. So thank you for this list. Thank you for showing me that you actually understand us quite well. And thank you for indulging the use of tech a little bit to get us talking to each other. You might have seen the news just a couple of weeks ago that we're now the 6th largest research university in the country as measured by our research expenditures. Yeah. So this was exciting to see, and I confess that for me it was a special pleasure. I'm a pretty competitive person, and we flipped above 2 UC system schools, so I sort of enjoyed that. I will, in the interest of candor, also let you know that between 5 and 8, there's really small differences. We are doing $1.7 billion of research this year, which is amazing. But University of Washington, the other UW, was at $2 million above us. $2 million out of $1.7 billion is really just a rounding error. But in the interest of candor, the 2 below us were also just modestly below as well, though a little more than 2 million. What this means is that we're bringing in external resources, federal dollars, for example. We're also building industry partnerships and philanthropic dollars, and we're spending these to do research to try to create new innovations, some of which may be curiosity-driven or social scientific, but some of which will also be potentially commercialized down the road or potentially the next great medical advance. And so that is a hugely important part of what we're doing. And if you think about $1.7 billion of research, that's nearly $5 million a day that's changing lives here in Wisconsin and beyond. We're trying to do things to grow our impact even more, and I'll share just a couple of them with you today. And then, I'm happy to take a question or two if there's time, but I don't know if there will be. You heard mention of the Wisconsin RISE initiative. So Wisconsin RISE stands for Research, Innovation, and Scholarly Excellence. And it's about supercharging our existing impact with strategic investments in a couple of areas. We've announced 3 RISE initiatives. RISE AI, focused on both strengthening our very good computer science department, but also thinking about translational AI. How is AI going to change work? How is it already changing research work across our university? And how is it going to change your businesses? How is it going to change the way that you operate? How can we understand the translational dimensions of AI? And how can we also ensure that AI is used in more trustworthy ways rather than less, that we kind of keep the human in the picture as we think about AI? RISE Earth focuses on building our already strong work in sustainability. I know Fitchburg's a longtime leader in this as well. We're looking especially at energy systems and resilience and how we cope with a changing climate. And Rise Thrive is positioning us at the forefront of innovation around health span. Not just how long do we live, but how long can we live healthy lives from infancy to when we're older. And what are the ways that knowledge can help us do that better. We're aiming to grow our faculty by about 120 to 150 people over 5 years. And we're also aiming to build the infrastructure so that our faculty can collaborate across schools and colleges and departments even better to take on grand challenges and try to develop ambitious answers. WARF, the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, recently committed $15 million to really allow us to hit the ground running with Rise AI. And we also have alums and friends and industry partners with interests in these areas. And so we're very excited about this. And we're building on strength. This isn't just like we're going out and trying to hire folks out there to bring them to Wisconsin to start developing these areas. These were partly selected through a process that involved the deans and schools and colleges building on our existing strengths where we think we can make a difference. Now, to be sure, lots of research at UW-Madison doesn't connect to these areas, so these are not at all the only important things. But by having some focus areas, we're hoping that we can also drive further excellence than we could have, and also break down silos within our institution and beyond. Now, outside of RISE, I wanted to give an example of something else that's exciting that's going on, which is the Wisconsin Biotech Tech Hub. We got the next phase designation from the federal government, and I'm really excited about this. This really is an economic development win-win that springs from a big, broad public-private collaboration all across our state to become an even stronger national leader in biohealth and personalized medicine. We worked together with many others to get Wisconsin designated in this way. We were just one of 31 selected across the entire country. And we're getting about nearly $50 million from the federal government, not just to UW, but to this initiative to support it. What's exciting to me, as much as the dollars, that's a lot of federal dollars, but again, we do $1.7 billion worth of research, is that it really is a big collaboration across lots of different partners. And I think it suggests the value that instead of competition, what we need to be doing is collaborating. How do we work together to do more and to do bigger things? And I stand ready, and we stand ready to ask, how can we do that with Fitchburg as well? Our focus within the Tech Hub is to build a new secure Wisconsin health data hub that researchers and industry partners will be able to query. For example, to compare treatment options for a certain kind of cancer within a certain patient population, so we can learn more about effectiveness, and to evaluate new treatments and to have a better lens to see how innovations work. As we're designing the data hub, the Medical College of Wisconsin is also sending healthcare vans into Milwaukee neighborhoods to provide cancer screening. So there's a lot of things going on across the state. It will help individual health, but it will also address a problem that researchers sometimes call data missingness, that when we are sometimes missing certain communities within our data that mean we're not doing as good a job in thinking about prevention and treatment. And GE Healthcare has also been a significant partner here. Now, these are not Fitchburg, GE Healthcare isn't here, I recognize that, but it's just an example of the kinds of dynamics that we can have with community and with industry and with business leaders, both locally and in places like Fitchburg, but also all across the state, because we need to be good partners to the whole for the sake of our state's economy. I want to mention a third opportunity too around entrepreneurship. We already have a strong entrepreneurship culture at UW-Madison. There have been several hundred startups to come out of UW-Madison in the last decade. But I think we can take that strong ecosystem and make it even stronger. I appointed a team of both internal and external folks and entrepreneurs to explore what would a better campus-wide strategy look like in this space. We're already doing some great things, but what would it look like if we could take that to the next level? And now now there's a business school professor named John Eckert who's serving as my special advisor for the year to help move that project forward. How can we help make sure there's great ideas all over our campus and beyond? How can we give more of our students a taste of entrepreneurial thinking while they're with us that they can bring out into the world? Maybe some of them will immediately go become entrepreneurs, but probably most of them, at least our undergrads, that's not going to be the right next step. But how do we give them a taste that will help them be a step more innovative or seize opportunity later in their professional life? And for our graduate students and our faculty who have good ideas that might be able to come to market, how can we help make that a little bit more possible and lower the barriers and help them build partnerships? And so hopefully we will succeed at that, and hopefully some of those will be building businesses right here in Fitchburg, for example. So this is a taste of some of what's going on campus. We're also at the beginning of another budget cycle, and I thought I'd just share a few things for you to be aware of there. We're really proud that we're a public institution, but I could have put up as one of those questions with that technology, what percentage of the state of our budget do you think comes from the state? Any guesses? You're pretty darn close. It's about 11% right now. 11% of our budget, of our revenues come from the state. And I'm grateful for that 11%, but it's a minority partner in what we're up to. And overall, a statistic you may have seen, our university system, the universities of Wisconsin, is 43rd out of 50 for per capita state investment in four-year higher education. And so I want you to be aware of this as we're going into the state budget process. As partners and community members and as business leaders and as alums, you have the potential to have powerful voices as advocates for a strong UW-Madison and a strong Universities of Wisconsin. Now, as Crystal Potts, who's our state relations director, is also a Fitchburg resident. So yeah, there you go. And if you're interested in knowing anything more about this, we'd love to share. Sometimes I hear from legislators that they don't hear from their constituents very much about higher education, or at least not very much that's positive about higher education. They don't hear it as a priority from their constituents or from business leaders. And so I would love it. We don't have to be your only priority. We don't even have to be your number one priority. But I would love it if you believe that we are stronger with a strong UW-Madison, if you believe that we're stronger with strong Universities of Wisconsin here in our state. I'd love it if you would use your voice to share that with our legislators who are making decisions. One easy way to do that, there's two petitions that are circulating. One that is UW-Madison specific that basically says, please invest in University of Wisconsin-Madison, and please consider giving us bonding authority so that we can do some of the things that we'd like to do without state help, if we could just have a little bit more flexibility. The Universities of Wisconsin also has a petition going around that basically says, please invest so that we're not 43rd out of 50 as a state. And if any of you are game to sign that, business leaders from businesses of any size or just those who are working at businesses, we would love to have your name on one or both of those petitions. We'll share them afterwards. And then more generally, to the extent that you're engaging with legislators, if you believe that we are an important contributor to the state economy and to all of those pretty good things on that list of words that came to mind, if you're game to share that, it would really make a big difference to us. So let me stop with that. And again, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you for all of the ways that you're engaged with us, whether it's as community members or alums or industry partners or the one student in the room. Kudos to you as well. And again, thanks for this opportunity. And Fitchburg is certainly a place of good ideas. Thanks very much. Thank you.
So we want to thank the Chancellor for her presentation today. And from the city of Fitchburg, we have an honorarium to present to you.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you.
And you have to take this back to your office, Crystal. But it's one of you, I think we want to take some pictures.
Thank you.
So thank you for your words of encouragement and wisdom. And everybody well on this journey.
Thank you so much for this It's from Community Economic Development. I really appreciate that. Maybe I will give it to our Office of Business Engagement so that they can keep doing more excellent economic development. So it's a partnership I really
Thank you, and thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
As we get ready to wrap up, I want to do two more things. One is, when you do this, I've learned there's a lot of things you got to be flexible about during the day as it gets ready to come. I left off one of our other city leaders who's here, so I want to also mention Alder Nicole Vifardi is here, so thank you very much for attending, and my apologies. And lastly, we will get everybody back to their workplace. I want to thank you for attending. I want to thank you for supporting Fitchburg. I want to thank Promega, Penny specifically, as well as all the staff from Promega and Fact TV who put this on. I want to thank the City Chamber of Commerce and all of you who are here. And I'll give one more advertisement for the event tomorrow night, Get Festive at Agora, which is right over here from 5 to 8 p.m. And lastly, Chancellor, go Badgers. There's a big thing in Lincoln this weekend. And we need a win. So thank you very much for coming.